scanner. So as long as the card has the correct password and entry, then you can just scan and log into the system easily without keying in on the system. So we have reagent traceability for every sample and every injection that we do on our system. So as I mentioned earlier, user log on is mandatory, and we have a super user. Super user are able to um, have a lot of levels that they can do. They can edit a lot the expiry, or they can delete samples, they can amend or change the update log information. So operator will have limited authorities. Handheld barcode reader, it can be used to scan the reagent lots, and as I mentioned earlier, the expiry dates, reagent lot number can be entered into the system, and we can also use it to log on user to the system. So an example of reagent traceability, the date and expiry are not shown here, but if you do the scanning on the barcode scanner on the system, on the reagent, then it will be reflected accordingly here. So reagent traceability, so you can see here column WA, that is 0001A is the lot number, and as well as the date it was input on the system. And then we have the separation of the common identified peaks, and then the HbA1c results expressed in NGSP format and IFCC format as well. That is can be configured, and we also can enter our provide results in 2 decimal points, like 5.01 or 5.02, etc., so on and so forth. So we can input up to 2 decimal points for our HbA1c result. So we can pick a selection on the dilution ratio with the stat assay. So we have a stat pot. It's one stat pot is available. So this stat pot, you can use it to repeat your sample, which are maybe short sample. So you will have to put it as take the primary tube and put it into a sample cup. So you can that pot can run both primary tube and sample cup. But if it's a short sample, you can transfer your primary tube short sample to a sample cup. So the sample cup has about 500, 800 to 500 kind of volume. So this volume is be able to be taken up by our system. So our system can pick up to from 500 microliter onwards. Yeah. So if you put it here, you do not have to pre-select um, what is the type of sample, what is the type of cup that you have, because if it's a sample cup or if it's a primary tube, the needle that it goes will be different. But this is taken care by the system. The system will automatically know whether this sample you put is in a form of sample cup or primary tube. All you need to do is just to select this is the whole blood or diluted blood. That's all, as well as whether to use the same dilution factor or not. So the default dilution factor is 1:200. If you increase, that means you need to put more blood. So that means the dilution will be 1:100, and then decrease will be 1:400. Okay. So automatic recognition of blood tube and sample count. And there are three different types of diluting ratio. So you do not need to pipette yourself anymore. You just simply repeat the sample by putting in a step pot and make a selection, and you're good to go. So we have a high resolution chromatogram because we are using our own resin materials from the separation business. We make our own columns, we make our own resins. We have good separation quality. You can see the high resolution of the sharp peak here. We have TP plate, TP monitoring to monitor the integrity of the column for each separation. So we do not have interference from common hemoglobin variants, HbAd, AS, AC. Uh, so, so the result will be shown. There is a flag to alert you, but the results are still reportable. You can see the value there. Okay. HbAd as well. The results are reportable because you can see the value there. And if the result is not reportable, like in this case, HBEE, then you will say Homo E suspected, and the results will be removed. So you cannot see and you cannot report this result. So G11 is a continuous access system analyzer. There's no need to pre-mix the sample before you put onto the rack for analysis. There is no rack selection required. So you just basically load into the tube and then just press start button, you're good to go. What you see here are different configurations available. With 90 sample loader is what I'm circling right here. This is a 90 sample loader configuration. If it's a 290 sample loader configuration, it will be this whole thing here. And our system is connectable to the tracking lines, but you need the LA model, which is the lab automation model, as well as the front loading kit. So in terms of flexibility, we have different options to cater to different needs. HPLC is the gold standard for HbA1c analysis. We accept diverse type of tube, pediatric tubes, or different dimension of the tubes, which can be configured by our engineer. We also can have a diverse anticoagulants can be used on our system, not only EDTA, citrate, fluoride, blood tubes, citrate, fluoride, heparins, yeah, can be analyzed on our system as well, other than EDTA, so without any interference. I mentioned earlier about auto validation of normal results. The flags are programmed inside. However, it is customizable to different value, but we have a prefix flag installed in the system. And then the adjustable flag level, meaning whether to report this result or not to report this result. This can be configured as well. So we have a very full customization of flag available. But if you do not know what is correct or wrong, we will just provide you a standard one, which we always do for all our customer to follow our flag settings. Yep. An example of the flag: area too low with a flag 1, area too high, flag 1 means the result is not reportable. But if it's just area low, it's still within the acceptable limit, we can report the result. A good precision in terms of certainty in our QC, and we only need 10 microliter after reconstitution. And our QC, our dosal control, can be frozen at minus 20 degrees Celsius and kept up to 30 days. So if it's not kept at frozen condition, if it's a room 2 to 8 degrees Celsius, you can keep for 7 days in fridge. Have a user-friendly filter unit. This is our pre-filter, so you just have to open and close the door. It's like a doorknob. You can open and close easily and change the pre-filter after every 600 tests. This is to protect the column from premature failure and ensure high quality results of our separation. We can change the column in few seconds using just finger tight connection. Just use your hand to remove the column, and you can straight away replace without using any tools. And in this way, our column have a long lifespan. So with a pre-filter, we can protect the column and we have a longer use columns. So we have an automated stop procedure, automated wash, as I mentioned, automated on and off timer to use our system easily. And there's no maintenance required, no weekly or monthly maintenance required by the user. Basically, you just use the system and report the results accordingly. Happiness using Torso product. And next, I will talk to you just briefly about Torso G11 beta thalassemia. It's available on our system, but it's using a different set of kits. So you need a G11 beta thalassemia elution buffer as well as the column. So these two are different from HbA1c. So we can quantify HbF, HbA2 result in 5 minutes uh, the chromatographic separation between HbA2 and HbE is very distinct, and it does not does not interfere with HbE does not interfere with HbA2 quantification anymore, unlike in the traditional HPLC system, which I will show you in the next slide. So we have over 40 years of experience in HPLC with full reagent traceability, easy to use, reliable, and we can connect to an open lab automation line. What you see here on the left is a normal sample with a normal HbA2 value, HbF 2.08, and then beta tau sample, HbA2 more than 3.5%, and then HbE trait. So we can see here there's a separate window for HbE, and it's being identified with a quantifiable percentage. So this peak here, the shaded yellow peak here, is the HbE peak that we have detected, and this peak here is HbA2 peak, shaded peak here. So that means we have already separated HbE from HbA2, so no longer does it cause any interference anymore for such separation in HPLC method. Traditionally, there is always a common problem of co-elution of HbE peak on HbA2, but now we have rectified this problem and managed to separate this peak very nicely, so it does not affect each other anymore. So this is our introduction, my introduction on Toso Corporation and also on G11 HPLC system for A1C and beta thalassemia. So I hope that today, after this video, you are more clear about what Toso Corporation is about and also what G11 is about. So I hope that everything goes well for you and hope to see you soon. Thank you. Bye bye.